Well, as we look forward to Game 3, clearly a big storyline is whether or not we'll see Evgeny Kuznetsov on the ice for Game 3. He left in the first period of Game 2. How big a loss would this be for Washington if he can't go?
That's a big loss. I mean,
gigantic loss.
Evgeny Kuznetsov is right there with Alex Ovechkin as the best player, best offensive player on this team. He really has stepped up in this playoff year. In one game, when a guy gets hurt, Barry, other guys step up. Lars Eller was great in Game 2. But moving forward, if Kuznetsov cannot be in this series or cannot play, that is going to change things for the Washington Capitals.
Saying that Kuznetsov leaving, it might be a slight story. That's like saying it's cold on the North Pole. That is a gigantic story. This guy is an awesome player. He's emerging as a young superstar in the NHL. His speed, playing with Ovi. Backstrom now has been regulated a lot of times to a second-line center, even on the power play. This guy is a special player, and to lose him for any length of time, they were able to overcome the Nicky Backstrom injury. Lars Eller went up and played in that position, played really, really well. It was awesome, as a matter of fact. And then Lars Eller was an important part when Wilson was suspended for those 3 games. But now he's going to have to play even more minutes and more special minutes if Kuznetsov's gone for a length of time. This is a huge break for the Vegas team. When you can lose a player of the opposition, the stature of this kid, the way he plays, and the speed is important because Vegas is such a fast team. You can't lose fast guys when you're playing a fast team. No. So it's like you can't lose the tough guys when you're playing against the Philadelphia Flyers in the 70s.
That's right.
So that is a huge loss right there.
And unfortunately, they do have an extra day off between Game 2 and Game 3, so maybe that'll help, but
it didn't look like it was going to be like 2 days to get better.
It didn't look good.
It's one of those scary-looking injuries.
Yeah. Well, maybe Brooks Orpik is going to have to be the guy who steps up, right? I mean, he scored his first goal regular season or playoff since February of 2016. That was 4 months before Vegas was even finding out that they were getting a hockey team.
He was due.
It's crazy. So, yes, we will see how the Washington Capitals respond if they don't have Evgeny Kuznetsov. We're also going to see how Marc-Andre Fleury responds. What do you expect out of him after kind of a shaky first 2 games?
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Marc-Andre Fleury responds because in these playoffs, he's just been great throughout. He's had very few blips, and now in the first 2 games, I think a little too aggressive, a little outside his blue too much. I think he's got to dial it back a little bit.
I think that Caps really attacked the net well. They did a much better job of that. Fleury, the couple bounced off the elbow.
Yeah, he's had some bad bounces.
Off the post and in. Tonight, I hope we get a couple bang, back to back off the post and out. I'm not that worried about this guy. I think that he's so confident right now. He'll look at the tape and say, I played pretty well. One bounce here, one bounce there. That's how goalies are, man. That's how goalies are. This guy is so hot right now, so confident right now. They've been great on the road. They went into buildings and won, so they're not afraid to go on the road and get 2 points out of there. So I expect them to be great again. And the only thing is the guy at the other end of the ring,
playing pretty well himself.
Could be a good goaltending battle. We're going to see the rest of the series.
Braden Holtby, 37 saves. It was the most in a game decided in regulation this playoffs, his second most of the playoffs. Real quick though, Washington going back home, that hasn't always been good for them. Do you think this favors the road team suddenly?
Well, the Vegas Golden Knights haven't minded being on the road, so I don't think they'll be bothered by that. Washington Capitals, though, the home ice has not been great for them this playoff year, but when they have had to win at home, they've found ways to do it, and that crowd, they'll be jumping on Saturday night.
Well, I'll take that a different direction. Caps winning on the road all the time, so they're going to have to win more road games if they're going to win this series, right? So they'll come back and into this building. They've already won 1 out of 2 games, so they're not scared of that at all. So if they can sneak one, and this is so crazy that we're talking about sneak one at home and get on the road and get hot. So it's a crazy way to think, but that's the way it's turning out this year.
All right, so the Capitals with a big road win in Game 2. We will see who takes Game 3 with the series all tied up at 1 going into Saturday night.